Alright guys, Miasma coming at you again in the continued celebration that is Legion format for the one set that it will still continue and the little bit into Stride format it will last. As we are going to go with one of my favorite decks, Shadow Paladins. We are going to do it Witch style, which I love this deck by the way. We start with Witch of Banquet Lear. If my opponent happens to have 2 grade 2s on the board, or when she boosts an attack that hits, I can call 2 grade 0s from my deck, which is pretty amazing. Get free boosting units for next turn since they have to be called as rests. Next up, we got 4 heal triggers, 8 critical triggers. I wish they had another witch one, so I just went with Grim Reaper. And then we got 4 draw triggers. Pretty standard for most of my aggro decks to run 8 crits and all that. But yeah, that's how it goes. And if you don't like it, oh well, that's how I play. Next up, we got our grade 1s. We got 4 Witch of Precious Stone Donna, which when she's called, I can choose to Soul Blast 1 card to take and replace 1 card on the field with a grade 0 unit from my opponent's graveyard. My opponent does get to pick the grade 0 of their choice, but most decks don't have returning grade 0s. Next up, we got 3 Witch of Ruination Sachet. Our 10k attackers, standard in most decks that I run that have them. Then we got 2 Quintet Walls, Barrier Witch Grain. And 2 Dark Shield MacLear. If you remember from one of my previous videos, I said that I like to test between 2 Perfect Shields and 2 Quintet Walls, and 1 Quintet Wall and 2 Perfect Shields. With this deck, I keep faulting it back to 1 Quintet Wall, but we'll see where that lands. Next up we have 2 Witch of Choice Iru, which if my opponent has 2 or more grade 0s on their board, I can discard a card from my hand and draw a card. Pretty good just for switching out that extra grade 3 I might not need, or whatever I don't want in my hand. Next up I got 2 Comet Witch Serva. Just their 10k vanilla. It's pretty fun to run, and it makes the deck work, in my opinion. A lot of my friends don't like it, but I'm like, well, I like how she looks. And I like how you kind of think she's upside down most of the time when you look at her at first. Next up, we have Cursed Lancer. Just another unit I love. It's a damage flipper. You tend to run them at low numbers, maybe 1 or 2 of them. If your deck feels it can successfully pull it off, 3. Then we got 4 Witch of Reality Fiem, which is the Witch 12k attacker. I love that it's also the Legion mate, because it makes it 1 key in the deck and 2 extra useful since it's a Legion mate. Then we have 4 Inspection Witch Deidre. Now this card, when it's called to rearguard, once again, just like our Witch of Precious Stones, Soul Blast 1, target a card on the field, and your opponent picks a grade 0 from their drop and calls it over it, which is beautiful for replacing their field for later plays. Now then, we get down to the nitty-gritty of our grade 3s. We have what I consider my minor / sometimes game ender, if I can get it at the right moment. Our Cultist Witch Rias. That's right. You can counterblast 2 cards with her, or take and look at the top 5 of your opponent's deck and call one of their grade 0s on top of another field. They also pick which grade 0 among them, which most times, you know, you might only get 1 or 2 sometimes that I've run into, or sometimes you might not hit at all, just like with your grade 3 searchers. Then we have what I like to think is the beauty of my deck, Mesmerizing Witch Fianna. Yes. If my opponent has 2 or more grade 0s on the board when this card's on the field, I can kill 1 unit, be it her or her mate, that are on the rear guard and draw 2 cards, which is once again beautiful for generating hand advantage. And works well with the deck, and I can counterblast 2 cards, check the top 10, target 2 cards on their field and replace them with 0s. which works out so well in getting rid of their front row, if it's there, or if it's not already a 0 by the point I use it. Oh, that does it for my witches, except for, once again, that's right, the G units I use, which are, once again for now, 4 Harmonix Messiahs. I cannot wait for Stride to really come out so I can do some real testing with it, and generate a much better, more personalized for each deck. Most of them will probably include 2 Harmonix Messiahs just to use G-Assist with, and then whatever else will actually support whatever the deck does. Alright, but I will catch you guys later. Peace out, please subscribe, and we'll catch you again next time.